You guys.
Rocket, Mr.
All right, are we ready to get started? All right, so for our bell ring today, we are simplifying both adding and subtracting as well as multiplying radicals. So for number 1, we have radical 48 minus radical 108 plus radical 27. Should I enlarge the font on that? Would that make it better? Can we see well? Okay. And for the second one, we have radical 12 times radical 6. So go ahead and take a couple minutes to work on these two bell ringers. And then after that, we will move on to discussing your homework. And then after you get finished with this, go ahead and get your homework out.
Mr. Lozier? My homework happens to be empty.
Your homework happens to be empty?
Yes.
Okay.
JK,
You got some of it.
what's number 6?
Okay. We'll handle it. Break it down and run apart, see what the radicals. This is week 7. Go down to the component radicals. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so what to... So that's your answer. And I'll work on the first one. What's up? Okay. Or hold on. Okay, never mind, you've already broken it down. You're good. Yeah, so you're going with radical 12 times radical 6. Looks good. Now combine your like terms. So what's negative 2 plus 3? You do that on the board. Okay, let me look. Yeah, looks good. You want to go on the board? Okay, go number 2. Will you do number 2? Okay.
I'll do number 2.
Who said that? Kelsey? Right. So McKenna and Kelsey. McKenna's going to do number 1 on the board. Kelsey's going to do number 2. Shake your work as they do it. Let's see. So you break this down. What's 8? 8 is what? 4 times? 2. You're fine. Alright, now we're looking for pairs. Do we have any pairs of numbers? 4 2s. So we're going to say 1 pair of 2s and 2 pairs of 2s means that what's our outside number? 2. 4. It's 2 times 2. So 4. And what goes on the inside? 3. So 4 radical 3. And then what's my next one going to be? Okay, so what goes on the outside? Yeah. Yeah. And then what's my last one going to be? Yep. And then make your signs the same in front of it. Awesome. All right. So first thing we need to realize as we do this in order for us to add or subtract radicals, what do we need to have?
Index, same number.
We have to have the same index and the same number under the radical. What's my index for this one? If I, 2, because if I don't have an index, it's an implied 2, because it's the square root, right?
Yep.
So I've got the square root of 48. What's my index for this one? 2. What's my index for that one? So do all of them have the same index?
Yeah.
Do all of them have the same number underneath the radical?
Yeah.
No, not yet. So we want to see if we can simplify these and break them down. So if we look at radical 48, what can we break radical 48 down into?
4 radical 3.
Yeah, well, we end up breaking it down to 4 radical 3 because we break it down to 12 times 4, which is 2 times 6, which is 3 times 2, and 2 times 2. We're looking for pairs. We got a pair of 2's and another pair of 2's. So it's 4 on the outside. What's on the inside? 4 radical 3. And then radical 108 breaks down into 6 radical 3 down here once we get down to it. And then radical 27 breaks down into 3 radical 3. And then I'm just going to do my operation. So I've got 4 radical 3 minus 6 radical 3 is what? Negative 2 radical 3 plus 3 radical 3. Positive 1 radical 3. Which you can write as just radical 3. Thank you, Haley. And then number 2, I've got radical 12 times radical 6. So there are a couple ways that I can do that. First off, what is 12 times 6? 72. And I can break 72 down. And when I break it down, I get a pair of 3's and a pair of 2's and a 2 left over. So what goes on my outside? 6, which is 3 times 2. And then on the inside, I'm left with a 2. All right, go ahead and get out your assignment from Friday. You didn't have to finish all of it. You just had to get the first bit done. They give you some really big numbers at the end. So I sped through this. So if you think that I missed one, feel free to let me know because I very easily could have. So the first 5, 6 are pretty easy. So number 1 is negative 8 radical 3. Number 2, negative 6 radical 2. If you put negative 3 radical 8, you need to simplify another step, okay? Number 3 is negative 5 radical 6. Number 4 is negative radical 5. Number 5 is negative 27 radical 3. If you got negative 9 radical 27, you need to go another step to simplify. Number 6, we break that down and get negative 6 radical 3 plus 3 radical 3 plus 6 radical 5, which gives us negative 3 radical 3 plus 6 radical 5 as our final answer. Number 6, yeah. Negative 3 radical 3 plus 6 radical 5 is your final answer.
Well,
If you have any, hold on, if you have any questions, we'll take them in, okay? Number 7, we have negative, sorry. Oh. Number 7, negative 12 radical 5 minus 2 radical 6. Number 8, negative 7 times the 6th root of 3 minus 2 times the 6th root of 5. Hold on. Number 9, negative 3 times the cube root of negative 3 plus 6 times the cube root of 6 plus 9 times the cube root of 3. Number 10, negative 6 times the 6th root of 3 plus 4 times the 4th root of 2. Number 11, negative 4 times the cube root of 5 minus 4 times the cube root of, oh sorry, let me repeat that. Negative 2 times the cube root of 5 plus 4 times the cube root of 2. And number 12, negative cube root of 6. Alright, questions on the first page.
Can you read the answer to number 9?
Number 9 is going to be negative 3 cube root of negative 3 plus 6 times the cube root of 6 plus 9 times the cube root of 3.
Can you do that on the board?
Number 9?
Yeah.
Okay. So for number 9, so I've got negative 3 cube root of negative 3 plus 2 cube root of 162 plus 3 times the cube root of 81. Alright, can I break the cube root of negative 3 down at all? No. So I'm going to leave that as negative 3, cube root of negative 3. Alright, what about 162? Can I break 162 down?
Yes.
How can I break 162 down?
Uh, 81 and 2.
And say 81 times 2. Can I break 81 down? Can I break 9 down? And then this other one's going to be the same. So I'm looking at the cube root, so I'm looking for sets of 3. Do I have any sets of 3?
Yes.
How much?
3 radicals.
So I've got 3 threes, and what do I have left?
2 and 6.
2 and a 3, so it's going to go on the inside? 6, and I'm going to bring my 3 on the outside. I've already got a 2, so what goes on the outside? 6. And then the last one, the cube root of 81. How do I break down 81? How do I break down 9?
3. So it's 9 cube root of 3.
So I get negative 3, cube root of negative 3, plus 6, cube root of 6, plus 9, cube root of 3. There will be another way to simplify this further, but that's all we've learned thus far, so don't worry about going further, okay?
What did you say number 2 was?
Number 2, negative 6 radical 2.
How?
Yeah.
Did I do it wrong?
Because it literally just looks like the answer should.
Right.
I thought you just subtracted the radical off the end.
You subtract the coefficient of the radical.
Yeah.
So that's number 9.
Just radical 8. That's what I got.
Number 2,
Yeah, that's what I got too.
2 radical 8 minus radical 8.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have done it wrong, because I have written down negative 4 radical 2 instead of positive 4 radical 2.
Yeah.
So 2 radical 8 minus radical 8 is what?
Radical 8.
Radical 8. How does radical 8 simplify? 4 and 2. How does 4 simplify? What do I have? 2 radical 2. So yeah, I did make an error on that. So thank you guys for correcting me on that. So my answer for number 2 should be 2 radical 2.
Why do you have to continue simplifying? Why can't I just do this like radical 8?
Because you need to get it into simplest form. Because oftentimes on like the ACT or other tests, you're going to have it such that you're going to see radical 8 as an answer, and you have to realize that it has to be 2 radical 2. Alright. Any other questions on the front page?
What's the answer number 12? Oh, number 5.
Number 12 was negative cube root of 6. Number 5, do you need me to number 5 on the board, or do you want me to do the
I
answer?
want negative 9 radical 27.
So negative 9 radical 27 is correct, but you have to simplify that down. So when you break
Put 27 radical 9.
when you break down radical 27, what's that going to be?
100.
What does 9 break down into?
3.
Looking for sets of 2. So I've got a 3 on the outside. I've already got a 9 though. So what does that become?
Negative 27 radical 3.
Negative 27 radical 3. So you're not wrong, Abby. You just had to go a step further, okay?
Yeah. Will
Alright.
it still simplify to the right answer in the calculator though? If it's not in simplest form?
If you typed in on the calculator, if you typed in negative 9 radical 27 and negative 27 radical 3, they would give you the same thing.
No, I'm talking about.
Like if you typed in negative 9 radical 27.
1 second.
Because it'll give you a decimal.
Yeah. Alright, any other questions on the front? Alright, again, I know 7 through 12 all had rather large numbers. So, if you missed those, that's okay. Because those are very large numbers. Alright, on the back, we'll ask you to do 13 through 20. 13 through 16 should be pretty easy. So for 13, we get the cube root of negative 60, which does not simplify.
So we'll get negative 60.
Does negative go on the inside?
Technically,
That's what I was thinking.
alright, so technically if we want to fully simplify it, the negative will go on the outside, but we're not going over how to do that yet. So you can leave the negative on the inside or on the outside. Okay? Number 14, radical 15 doesn't simplify. Number 15, 2 radical 3. And number 16, just 3. Alright, number 17 through 20, these might have been a little bit more difficult. 17, 12 radical 3 minus 9 radical 15. Number 18, negative 36 radical 10 plus 20 radical 15. 19, 12 radical 10 plus 20 radical 3. And 20, negative 2 radical 5 plus 8 radical 3. You know, do I need to repeat one?
You gotta repeat.
Okay, which one? All of them?
Oh.
All right, 17, 12 radical 3 minus 9 radical 15. 18, negative 36 radical 10 plus 20 radical 15. 19, 12 radical 10 plus 20 radical 3. And 20, negative 2 radical 5 plus 8 radical 3. All right.
Will you do the right number?
For 18.
May I have your attention, please? At this time, we need the girls' basketball team to report to the multimedia room.
Just come by at some point at the end of the period and get the notes. And then we're going to finish up our worksheet 21 through 26 tonight, okay? Alright. So for this, first thing I have to do is I have to distribute, because whenever I have a multiplication problem like this, I'm going to distribute without some parentheses, right? Then I say 4 radical 15 times negative 3 radical 6. Multiply my coefficients together. What's 4 times negative 3? Negative 12. What's 15 times 6? Radical 90. I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to come back and simplify it later. Plus 4 times 5, 20, and then my radical stays the same. So 20 radical 15. How can I simplify radical 90?
30 and 3.
30 and 3? How can I break down 30?
15 and 2.
15 and 2. How can I break down 15?
5 and 3.
I'm looking for sets of 2. Do I have any sets of 2?
3.
3 and 3. Do I have any other sets?
No.
No. What goes on my inside?
10.
10. What do I bring to my outside?
3 times negative 12.
3 times negative 12, which is?
Negative 36.
So negative 36 radical 10 plus 20 radical 15. Alright, any other questions? So hold on to your assignment. We're going to finish it up tonight. If you had any questions, you can clarify some of them and you can finish it up later, okay? So, our objective today, I need to change this over. So, our objective today is going to be able to multiply numbers consisting of 1 to 2 real and radical parts. So we're going to look at how we can multiply numbers with both those real and radical parts. And we're going to leave this as part of 6-2. And we're still looking at multiplication, right? Yeah, still part of the same stuff. So to start with, let's look at a problem like radical 3 times 4 plus 2 radical 5. And so we did one very similar to this as homework. So if I have a number outside of parentheses, I distribute that number by what's inside the parentheses. So this should be very similar to what we've already done back in Algebra 1, right? The property of distribution. So if I look at distributing this, what is radical 3 times 4 going to be? Abby. Okay. What's radical 3 times 4 going to be? 4 radical 3. Don't make it harder on yourself. We're just going to leave it as 4 radical 3. And then what's radical 3 times 2 radical 5 going to be? Yeah. Say it. 2 radical 15. Very good, Hunter. So my answer for that would be 4 radical 3 plus 2 radical 15. Do either of those simplify? No. So my final answer is just 4 radical 3 plus 2 radical 15. So distribution, pretty easy, right? Everyone got this copy?
No.
All right, look, no? All right, let's go down a little bit. Let's look at another one. Let's say we got radical 15 times 4 minus 3 radical 5. So I've got to distribute my radical 15 to all of my numbers. So, Savannah, what's radical 15 times 4? Don't make it hard on yourself. 4 radical 15. Easy stuff. Now, when I multiply radical 15 times negative 3 radical 5, what am I multiplying? Am I multiplying the 15 by the 3 or by the 5? The 5. Because I multiply what's underneath the radicals together. So what's 15 times 5 going to be? 75. So I'm going to say 4 radical 15 minus 3 radical 75. Does everyone see how I got to that point? Alright, now for this one, do either of these simplify? Yeah, 75 is going to break down. How can we break down 75? 25 times 3. And then how does the 25 break down? 5 and 5. I'm looking for pairs of how much? 2. So I've got a pair of 5s, so I'm going to bring that out. What do I already have outside? A 3. Oh, sorry, thank you. So I'm going to say 5 times 3 is 15. What do I have left over underneath my radical? So I have, my final answer would be 4 radical 15 minus 15 radical 3. Alright, Emma. Let's look at 2 radical 3 times 4 minus radical 6. So I'm going to distribute my 2 radical 3, right? So what's 2 radical 3 times 4 going to be? What goes together? Does the 2 go with the 4, or does the 3 go with the 4? The 2 goes with the 4. So what's 2 times 4 going to be? So I have 8 radical 3, and then what goes with the 6? The 3 or the 2? The 3, because it's whatever is underneath the radical has to go with whatever's underneath the radical. What's outside has to go with what's outside. So I'm going to have 8 radical 3 minus what? 2 radical what? 18. Rather these simplify? Yes, which one? 18, how can I break down 18? 9 and 2, how can I break down either of these? 3 and 3, I'm looking for a pair of 2, or I'm looking for 2 sets. Do I have anything that has 2 of the same? The 3. So I'm going to bring my 3 out. I already have a 2 outside, so what am I going to do with that 2 and that 3? Multiply them, so what do I get? 6 radical. Absolutely. And you were looking nervous for no reason.
Can you scoot it up a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just let me know if I need to go down some. Okay, so I'm going to let everyone get finished with that. And the next one, I want you guys to practice on your own, okay? Am I going to move to the next page? All right. So let's look at radical 11 times 5 plus radical 3. That's a 5. So radical 11 times 5 plus radical 3. You're going to need about a minute to work on that. Yep. Times 5 radical 11. Don't make it hard on yourself. Whatever you tell me to. You have to tell me how you want to use them. Do you want to use them for the sun weeks? Okay. You can use them whenever you want. I've got a sticky note with all the people that have shown me their ACT score.
I think I have like 103.
You can use them whenever you want. All right, class. All right, everyone raise your hands. Right hand. All right, now I want everyone to find a partner. So go ahead and clap hands with someone. All right. Does everyone have someone? Anyone not have anyone? Yeah, you can have a set of 3. All right, so I want you to discuss your answer with them. So we're playing Twister over there. So I want you to discuss your answer with them. Explain how you got it. Three, 2, 1, class.
Yes.
All right, Shelby, can you tell me what you got?
5 radical 11 plus radical 33.
Yeah, absolutely. So radical 11 times 5 is going to be 5 radical 11, and radical 11 times radical 3 is going to be radical 33. And that doesn't simplify, right? All right. Yeah, I'm going to give you one more. All right, so I want you guys to go ahead and work on radical 5 times 3 plus radical 15. And then after you solve that, I want you to go ahead and rate yourself 1 to 5, how comfortable you feel with multiplying by distributing our radicals. So solve it and then rate yourself 1 through 5. How do you feel about distributing, multiplying through distributing with radicals? Can you break that down a little? And then once you get that, go ahead and rate yourself, okay? 1 to 5. Let's do the K-line. Make sure you rate yourself. You're asking how you can break it down?
No, she asked me when I go on.
Okay. Make sure you rate yourself.
Can I check this on the calculator?
1 to 5. Yep. What's 5 times 15? Let's check that. So I really like what you did by checking yourself on the calculator. Alright. No. So erase that directly. So remember, in order to combine them, we have to have the same number underneath the radical and the same number in the index. We have the same number in the index. We have the same number in the index. Yeah, we have the same number underneath the radical. No, so we can't combine. So we're going to look until we break down the units. So we break down 5. We break down 7. There you go. Looks good? Looks good? Where should you rate yourself? Okay, I didn't see it. Alright. Alright, 3, 2, 1, class. Yes. Alright, Kelsey Blair, go ahead and talk to me about what you did.
Kelsey Blair.
Sorry, Abby. You're where Kelsey is. Alright.
I distributed, and radical 5 times 3 is 3 radical 5.
Destin 6, the capital
Radical
office.
15
Destin
times
6, the
radical 5
capital
is
office, please.
75. And I broke down radical 75 into 25 and 3. And 25 breaks down into 5 and 5. And you have a set of 5s, so that simplifies to 5 radical 3. Then you bring down your 3 radical 5 from before, and that's the answer for the question.
Destin Sexton, come to the office. Destin Sexton, come to the office, please.
So we have 3 radical 5 plus 5 radical 3. And Abby, I want to talk about something that you did because it was so smart. Tell me what happened.
I went back to check myself, and I ended up getting it wrong, and I found out my mistake.
And how did you check to see that you got it wrong?
I typed in the original equation, and then I typed in my answer, and if they had the same answer, then it was right.
Yeah. So remember, we can always check ourselves by typing in what we start with on our calculator. So we type in what we start with, and then typing what we get as our answer. Yeah, like that. Is that good? Plus our answer. And they should be what if we're right?
Equal.
They should be the same or they should be equal. That's equal. Alright, so most people rate themselves fairly highly, and I think most everyone got 3 radical 5 plus 5 radical 3. So we're going to add one more thing today. So we've looked at how to multiply one radical by two numbers. Now we're going to look at multiplying 2 radicals. Essentially we're going to look at adding a binomial here. And it's not hard. In fact, we've already done stuff that's very similar to it. Like that? Okay. So we're going to compare and contrast.
Do we just FOIL it?
Yeah, we're just going to FOIL it.
What are we comparing?
So we're going to compare 4 plus radical 5 times 3 plus radical 2 to 4 plus x times 3 plus x. So we've done one of these before, right? Which one have we done before? The one on the right, the one with the x's, right? We call those what? Binomials. So let's go ahead. How do we multiply binomials?
You distribute.
We distribute through
FOILing.
foiling. So FOIL means first, so I'm going to say 4 times 3 is 12. Next, outer, 4 times x.
4x.
Inner, x times 3.
3x.
And last, x times x. Do I have any like terms?
Yeah,
What do they give me when I combine them? And I bring down everything else. So I get 12 plus 7x plus x squared. So on our left-hand side, where we have our radicals, we can essentially treat our radical numbers as binomials. So we're going to do the same thing. Okay, I can tell if you're still writing or not. All right, so to multiply two binomials with radicals, we're still going to multiply, or by foiling. My ink seems to be running dry.
You see your paper.
Yeah. So, Haley, what's the first step I'm going to do?
First we'll just 4 times 3.
What's 4 times 3?
12.
12. What's my next step?
4 times radical 2.
4 times radical 2. My outer, which is what?
4 radical 2.
4 radical 2. Don't make it hard on yourself. Remember, if it's just a number times a radical, it's number radical. What's my inner?
Radical 5 times 3, which is 3 radical 5.
And now the hard part, what's my last? Radical 5 times radical 2.
Radical 10.
Radical 10. That wasn't so hard, was it? Alright, so for this one, can I combine any of my terms? What do I have to combine my terms?
Rock mark. I
I have to have the same number in the index and the same number underneath the radical. Do I have the same number in the index for these?
Yeah.
Yes. Do I have any of the same numbers in the radicals? Will any of them simplify?
Radical 10.
So what can radical 10 break down into?
5 and 12.
5 and 2? Can I break down any of those?
No.
No. So I'm just going to leave it as 12 plus 4 radical 2 plus 3 radical 5 plus radical 10. Count that.
Is there a standard form for this like there is binomials?
Like typically you would go in like descending order.
But you know how like usually the exponent is first?
Right. Yeah. So typically you'll go in like descending order from your radical. So you put like cube roots ahead of square roots. So if you had like cube root of x plus square root of x, you would say cube root of x plus square root of x. Hold on to that train of thought because we're going to talk about it in like a week, okay? When we get to radical equations. Alright, can I go to the next page? Huh?
No, I wrote that wrong.
You wrote it down wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hold up and let you write it down right then. Let's see, we're missing Gabe and Kaylee and Kelsey Pennington. Anyone else? Oh, and Abby. Let me know when you're good, McKenna.
You're good.
Alright. Alright, so I want you guys to try this one on your own. So again, we just need to distribute it by foiling. Can I see that? Okay, yeah. So we have 6 plus radical 2 times 5 plus radical 6. So I want you guys to go and distribute that one on your own, okay? Looks good. Yeah. Well, radical 2 times radical 6. You just have radical 12. Hang on, check and see if things will simplify. Yep. What's your final answer? So all in one line.
Would you put that instead of
Yes, you put that instead of 12. So what do you have? What is that simplified? 2 radical. Second one. That's all it simplifies. So we're going to bring it all down and make it on one line. Okay? Alright, what I want you to do now is I want you to go ahead and get with your partners that you were previously with. I want you to discuss your answer and see if you guys got the same answer.
Is this all we're doing for our next day? Are we going to start with
We're still going to be foiling, but I'll do one other thing. Probably not. Before we finish in about 5 minutes. I was going to say, no one should go on 18 radical 6. Okay. Alright, 3, 2, 1, class. Yes. Alright, Hannah, can you walk me through what you did?
I did the foiling, so 6 times 5 is 30, and then 6 times radical 6 is 6 radical 6, and then radical 2 times 5 is 5 radical 2, and then radical 2 times radical 6 is radical 12. So I could break down radical 12. I did 3 and 4, and then 4 broke down to 2 and 2, and then that simplified to 2 radical 3, and I just brought everything down with it.
Yeah. So my 6 radical 6 doesn't simplify, neither does my 5 radical 2. So I have 30 plus 6 radical 6 plus 5 radical 2 plus 2 radical 3. Again, especially when you have problems like this, if you have a really long answer, don't worry about it, okay? We're going to look at one more example of just something that's kind of special before we move on. So I want to look at 3 plus radical 2 times 3 minus radical 2. So Chris, how can I solve 3 plus radical 2 times 3 minus radical 2?
Foil it.
I can foil it. So what am I going to do there?
3 times 3.
Which is
9.
next.
Cancel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
3 times radical negative 2.
3 times negative radical 2 is
Negative 3 radical 2.
next.
Radical 2 times 3.
Which is
3 radical 2.
and last.
Radical 2 times negative radical 2.
Which is what?
Negative radical 4.
Negative radical 4. So what happens in the middle here? Those are going to cancel.
Last year's fishing team, report to the office. Last year's fishing team, report to the office, please.
All right. And what is radical 4? What can I break that down into? 2 and 2. So I've got one pair of 2's, right? So I get 9 minus 2, which is 7. So what do we notice here? What happens to our radicals?
They disappear.
They disappear, they cancel. Why do they cancel? Have we ever seen anything like this before? Because these are conjugates. So do you guys remember when we talked about imaginary numbers or complex numbers? How if we multiplied by the conjugate of a complex number, we could cancel out all of the imaginary parts. So the same thing happens with radicals. So I'm going to put 2 asterisks beside this because this is going to be really important later on. If I multiply, thank you, by the conjugate And what are conjugates again? What do I change?
Opposite.
The opposite of what? The sign in front of the radical. So if I'm talking about a conjugate of a radical,
You see that conjugate?
I thought it was right on the right page. conjugate of a radical, then all of the radicals cancel out. And I'm left with only real rational numbers. Theoretically only real. Or some case. No, they should always be real. So we've got about 5 minutes left. So for tonight, I want you to, on the worksheet that you guys got yesterday, I want you guys to finish up 21 through 26, okay? So tonight, finish worksheet. Yeah, that's one way you check the first 20 on today. And we will turn it in tomorrow. Alright, and you guys have 5 minutes if you guys want to go ahead and get started on that, okay?